Thank you so much for speaking about this. Maybe hold a song. Come on, guys. So let's see. How are you, Chief? What's your name? You want some of this? Right now, Prophet has been sentenced to for 6 months.
Every time I put my son between my phone, and I pray on say, oh, Papa, like room here, so that Papa be going to jail.
So you're talking for the
room here, and I'm
your song can really say that.
Yeah.
If you're able to say it's your song.
I said the man, I said
if you're able to say what Prophet Key, why about you up on it? If you're able to say what Prophet Key, what best about you think about?
Oh man, don't go about what Prophet go to jail. Say it. Say it. Say it. The same one. The same one small. It's not one say yeah. Why would I remember? You don't know what
Good afternoon.
You know what?
I've been seeing him I've been knowing him.
How do you feel watching some of the stories online? Do you see us all what feeling does it bring to you as a woman?
It brings out very bad feeling for the fact that a man who is legally married and was born of a woman will go out and be insulting women in the nation and at large is very bad.
Prophet said he uses the platform for advocates and industry for people, to advocate for people. So sometimes if he's using the regular means, being more constructive, these people wouldn't get him. But sometimes you have to be more combative by using these vocal languages. So he said that's the only time he can that in quote. So how do you see that portion of it?
I don't look at it to be quote at all. Because if you're using the media to insult people and you think you will do it, what you did people is a very bad act.
But he said if you say your bill which can change, and you have to see the country that God changes. Do you think people like Prophet Key, people who think their language is not accepted, if God changed to this country somewhat?
Not at all. Using your voice to insult women and you call that bringing change to the nation, I think I'm
the 6 months sentence is adequate or is
if you ask me, I will tell you this to have added more things.
What was the time change last time that I would change it?
Like a year plus.
If you're able to say with Prophet Key's wife, what about you offer to work for their husband?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So you're still talking to more Liberian out here?
So we are still here trying to speak with more Liberians who have come to witness this court saga. And we have this lady here with us.
My name is
Barbara, what do you live? Do you know Prophet Key?
I don't really know property.
Have you seen him in person before? Have you watched the clips of him on Facebook?
Yeah.
How do you feel watching some of the clips?
I feel so bad.
You feel so bad. Are you a follower of Prophet? No, follower. Today he has been, he's gonna be sentenced for 6 months in prison. I don't know what's in prison. What's your take on it?
You know, for me, that 6 months very small. I was there for Prophet King. Yes, 6 months.
For how many more?
1 year, 6 months.
So you think the 6 months is not adequate? So if you're having an opportunity to sit with Prophet King, what better advice do you offer to her on their husband? Yeah.
But in your first day to say that, you know, our husband is not rude. People take it to look at things. So I don't have anything to do with that.
Do you see Prophet King as an advocate? How do you see him if you're advocate? And that's the best description you think?
Yeah.
What's your name again?
I think it's my brother.
I'm still here.
That's fine.
Thank you so much. Let me up to the young. How old is he?
No, not really.
Okay. How are you, man? What's up to you? Tell me you live on LNTV. What do you like? Do you know Prophet King?
He was supposed for 2 years. 2 years. Thank you.
So you just listen to that lady. She said at least women are going to rest a little bit. Welcome.
Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy, where do you live? Do you know Prophet King?
Yes, I do.
Have you seen him present before?
Yes, I have.
Have you watched some of the clips?
Yes, I have.
What do you make of someone that broadcast you on social media?
Well, he's one of those social entertainers that are very aggressive, uses profanity often, and he has a lot of followers.
I mean, he was very emphatic yesterday by saying he uses his special advocate for people who've been reaching out to him. And he said somebody maybe uses sometimes you can work with shorted, but the government of people they are not giving him, they are listening to this, you have to be somehow about it. What do you make of that too as well?
Well, I have seen him in some advocacy, but his methods are different, very different, and I think that's where the controversy is. That he's very outspoken, and I guess freedom of speech is also freedom of responsibility. So, yeah, this is a landmark text for
Do you think this time is adequate for
adequate?
Yeah, do you think the 6 month imprisonment is adequate for him?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to the, officials of the court. They know better. But I still question the question of is it what he did? The right to say what he wants to say. So I think this is a benefit.
Thank you so much. So we're still here. We're talking to more people. Still talking to more people as it relates to this entire situation as it relates to Mr. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn. few minutes from now, he will be escorted by the Liberia National Police and officers of the Correction Palace to be taken at Monrovia Central Prison. The final ruling has been given by Judicial Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And of course, Prophet Key will be given a 6-month imprisonment. And everybody is giving their own opinion. We're still here talking to more people to see whether we can bring you more voices of Liberia. Chief, can we talk to you? Other people don't want to say, offer a word, but it is what it is. Prophet Key is about to be sentenced for 6 months, followed by a behavior bond being signed and a letter of apology to be published in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. His wife just left this vicinity a few minutes ago, and she actually feels frustrated. The law has taken their course. Mr. Oldpa Yeazehn, many have expressed their dissatisfaction about this behavior of Prophet Key. And earlier on, he was seen using some invectives on the Associate Justice. Security apparatus posted right now. Reporters, Liberians, and of course, Prophet Key is still ongoing processing in one of the offices there on the 5th floor. Liberia is not only a constitutional republic, it is a society deeply rooted in traditional values. And as such, respect for elders and authority is culturally emphasized. Public insults, especially toward leaders, they are all viewed as moral violations. Social harmony is often prioritized over confrontation. But again, this ruling may not resonate culturally as a defense as institutional dignity or social disorder. But Liberia is a modern democracy, which means citizens rights must be respected. Citizens must be able to question power, must scrutiny additional respect and culture and that of modern constitutional freedom. Mr. Oldpa Yeazehn, alias Prophet Key, 6-month imprisonment with the final legal opinion be delivered by her Associate Justice, her Honor Associate Justice locally. Remember, Article 15 protects freedom of speech but makes individuals fully responsible for their abuse. This ruling has finally clarified criticism is allowed. It may be treated as criminal contempt. The Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. The court has finally affirmed its authority must be respected. Persistent attacks against judiciary will now go unchecked. And of course, contempt of court is not symbolic, it carries real consequences. Tana, it's up to you.
So, Christopher, we beg not to dive into a lot of a lawyer terminology here, but rather provide you how it looks like yet on today. Today, the D-Day, everyone said today was the final judgment day for Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, alias Prophet, following one of his widest made podcast on which he accused members of the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia of corruption. He went afar to abuse the mother of the Chief Justice, His Honor, Justice Justine Oldpa, and he was invited by the court, the Supreme Court of Liberia, to appear before the full bench to explain why he should not be held in contempt. On February the 10th, AD 2026, Prophet Key appeared before the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia, at which he explained that he does not have a legal representation, appealing to the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia to provide him that request was granted by the full bench of the Supreme Court, sending him to the legal department so that he will be given a lawyer to represent him before the full bench of the Supreme Court to explain why he should not be held in contempt. On February 12th, which was on Thursday, following the holiday, that case was scheduled, and the case was went into by the Supreme Court full bench, and the lawyers representing Justine Oldpa Yeazehn explaining why he should not be held in contempt. And after that hearing, and today was the D-Day, which was slated for the final hearing and final verdict to be read to determine the fate of Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, alias Prophet Key. And you all listen, those of you just joining, you are watching LNTV ELBC 99.9. On today, the final ruling was heard at which Justine Oldpa Yeazehn have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment, 6 months imprisonment, and had also been asked to release a letter of apologies in 3 daily newspapers for 5 working days. And upon his release from the Monrovia Central Prison, he will sign a behavior bond to never repeat similar action by causing any Liberian women, as long as he remains Liberian and stays within Liberia. Interesting it, scores of Liberians have engulfed here at the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia, some of which we have spoken with, and they have given their own opinion on this ruling that was just passed down by the Supreme Court of Liberia. Some said they are so excited that Prophet Key, who have been in the continuous habit of abusing Liberian women, will now be placed beyond bars and serve jail sentence for 6 months. This to then, they feel that it will serve as a deterrent to Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, Prophet Key. Now, upon his return, he will desist from engaging in abusive language against Liberian women. Supreme Court of Liberia should be more serious on corruption cases. Past government officials are languaging all around after the mountain works unto themselves, corrupting Liberians of what belongs to them. Some who have been accused, cases are now in court. The Liberian government should be more focused on these corruption cases rather than being beyond Prophet Key, Justine Oldpa Yeazehn. But this does not also change the fact that the dignity, proud of Liberian women should also be protected. Why is it true that the Liberian government, some Liberians are calling on the Liberian government should be more vocal on corruption cases. For this will also serve as a deterrence to who like to engage in similar acts of using invectives and taking on to their Facebook pages, saying all such of things on the issue of religion accuses against government officials of which they cannot substantiate or cannot be able to prove beyond all reasonable doubts. So this is a deterrent case. Like many Liberians have said, this is a deterrent case for who be doer who would like to involve themselves into similar acts, or who would like to involve in similar acts. So my name is Tyner James Kabas. This is LNTV, ELBC 99 for now. They're watching us for the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, alias Property, goes to jail today. And we're still there up to 6 months period. Upon his release, they have been instructed to release a publication of apologies in 3 local daily newspapers for 5 working days. And we also signed a behavior bond to never repeat similar action. All Liberians have welcomed this act and this ruling of the Supreme Court of Liberia in a joyful manner. All has signed on it saying the Supreme Court of Liberia, the Liberian government in particular, should be more serious and focused on pursuing corruption cases. And others reserve their comments in a gazing eye at watching the process. And so we are here to report how it looks like, to give you a clear glance. Those of you watching for the Desperate, I want to say good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. And we are watching here in Liberia, we want to say good afternoon. We want to say good afternoon because it is in the afternoon, it's 10 minutes past the hour 2 p.m. We'd like to say good afternoon to you. And so, we'd like to say a pleasant welcome to those of you who just joining this live. This is ELBC LTV Live, reporting from the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, we await the arrival. After the final ruling, Justine Oldpa Yeazehn was escorted to the 5th floor in room 307 for what we cannot explain because we did not go there with him. But I believe it's final processing that will lead into the Monrovia Central Prison. And so we are staying here giving you a clearer glance of how it looks like. A scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process, many of which we have spoke with, giving their own dissenting opinion in and for. Some said this marks a new day, most of whom we spoke with are women, because Prophet Key is noted for abusing women. Some of you who have followed his podcast, and Prophet Key, during the hearing on the 12th of February, Prophet Key said his invectives against Liberian women is then because he feels that's the only language corrupt officials understand. He feels that abusive words against your mother will change them, because witches and wizards, corrupt officials are afraid of abusive language being rendered against their parents, to be most precise, their mother. So Justine Oldpa Yeazehn on February the 12th apologized, but that was not sufficient. He wanted justice should be tendered with mercy, but that was not granted him. Rather, he was served on today, the 13th day of February, 6 months imprisonment, and I've been instructed to release a letter of apologies in 3 local daily newspapers for 5 working days. And upon his release, he will sign a behavior bond. He's going to sign a behavior bond to never in his lifetime, as long as he remains Liberian and stays within Liberia, to ever go on a podcast against, to release abusive language against Liberian women. So as it stands, Justine Oldpa Yeazehn is still in room 307, 5th floor, here at the Supreme Court of Liberia. And we are here awaiting his arrival, as he will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison, at which he will be placed beyond bars. So many thanks to those of you watching, and many thanks to those of you leaving your comment. We promise to read your comment, just leave them. As it unfolds, so what Emmanuel Clark Jr. said, Friday the 13th is a bad movie. I found the author today. Who's the author? He did not state it. That's Emmanuel Clark Jr. So Shalom Taylor said, you can cause Nima men to go free. That Sean Tyler, watching from where did not state that Vamuya, the financial Prophet Key must go. He will be escorted by the. He will be escorted. He will be escorted by the Liberian National Police. The police support unit at the PSU to the Monrovia Central Prison. You will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison.
It's somebody saying that anybody calls a man like says here or says more.
Yes, of course. You see that? So Liberians, Christopher, one of the things about Liberian, we are quick to adapt.
Obviously.
We are very quick to adapt to things. So today, what I was thinking, if Prophet Key was to be set freedom today, to work as a free man after using invective and runnering or huge level of allegation accusing the members of the 4 bench of corruption without showing proof. Of course, if he was going to be set freedom today, I think this was going to be a tradition for Liberians.
He's going to be more flamboyant.
Yeah,
honestly, he's going to be more flamboyant, going to be more boastful. I mean, he's going to do the worst thing, especially making mockery. But again, the law had taken a course. This is for a new day. This is a new day for Liberians. This is a new day, a precedent for, critics. It's good to criticize government constructively. But today, from what we've seen regarding Prophet Key situation, it's worrisome. So if you are a talk show host, you have to be mindful of some of your focal languages you use. Excuse me, Tana. I mean, there was somehow sad Professor broke down in tears when he entered the office. Yeah. I saw him. His eyes were deeply red.
One of his
he broke down in tears, and he was like, I mean, the person who reading our opinion, that person will not go scot-free, blah, 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 blah.
So one of his close guys, Prophet Keys, when he met him, Abu, one of those guys that are always with him. I think he's the guy who normally drives his car and normally control his podcast whenever he's called live. Abu. He said, Abu, the people have sentenced me to 6 months. That was his word exactly to Abu.
But he was actually focused when the legal opinion was being read by the Associate Justice, what we call it. Well focused, and especially to the part where she mentioned about his formal apology, kneeled down, retracting his statement. So he feel that he was actually going to fall within that range, saying that they're going to accept the formal apology without condition be attached.
During the reading of Justice Oldpa Yeazehn, she said what prompted Prophet Key apologies on yesterday, it was when those councillors representing him said that everyone, according to Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution, it talks about freedom of expression, but a person will be held liable for what they say, right?
Yeah.
So it was upon that Prophet Key apologized. So what I understand from her ruling, it's because Prophet Key never took it from his heart, but rather it was the apology was prompted from one of those councillors representing him.
Besides, Prophet Key's apology wasn't mentioned within the document that was presented by Councillor Besman Tran, the president for the Defense Council. So smartly, the Associate Justice highlighted that. She said, well, you're talking about your client's offer of formal apology, but we're not seeing it here in the document presented to us.
You see that?
So where do we stand? So there was a lapses. I mean, it was very difficult for a lawyer, well-seasoned lawyer or counsellor to actually represent Prophet Key. But again, it's obligated to the court, the judicial system, to provide you a lawyer to, the defense counsel. Yeah. And that was the referral proceedings being done. But again, freedom comes with responsibility. Freedom of speech comes with responsibility, and people can be held accountable under the law for abuses of this freedom of expression, such as libel, slander, and action that threaten public order.
So do you think that the words of Prophet Key will change, like he said on the one?
I'm not certain.
Like he said on the one of this hearing, that was the.
Yes, I do believe.
He said that the court system, he have tested it and indeed it worked.
It works.
And now that he has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment and given instruction to publish.
James, I can assure you.
The apologies in 3 daily newspaper for 5 working
with
days.
The behavior,
and some behavior bond upon his release.
With the behavior bond, whether he will be committed to error or not, with that behavior bond is on record. An attempt to use any vocal languages on any Liberian, especially describing the private parts of a woman. It's going to be another one for him.
Many Liberians are concerned, Christopher. They said that this case involving Prophet Key, now members of the Supreme Court bench, to be specific, meaning the Chief Justice of Liberia, this attention that this case was given should be given to similar corruption cases on the watch of Justice Basic. Do you think that this will prompt the immediate attentions of those seated on the bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia?
Of course, social media now, it's going to be more restrictive, right? If you are a talk show person, you come in on live, you will know what to say. You have to know what to do, how to, engage people. You will not be using all those inflammatory languages, against people. So if you appear on your platform,
I've mentioned
But I think with this president being set, I mean, something will change, honestly.
Something will change following this precedent that has been set by the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia, sentencing Justine Oldpa Yeazehn alias Prophet to 6 months imprisonment following his constant invectives he had rendered against members of the full bench, to be precise, the Chief Justice of Liberia, and accusing them of corruption. The final opinion was read today in the chamber of the Supreme Court of Liberia by Justice Wodokoli, Associate Justice James Edward Howard Wodokoli. So my name is Steiner James Kaba. I'm here with Christopher Bestman. Together we are providing you a joint commentary and giving you a clear glance of how it looks like here today. We are also being guided here by the Deputy Director General for New Media and Rebranding, Mr. Judicial the second. So we are here giving you a glance. So Christopher.
Needs to be culturally emphasized. Public insults, especially towards leaders, are viewed as moral violation, for which Mr. Oldpa Yeazehn was caught up with. Social harmony is also often prioritized, or constructive engagement is allowed, but sustained abusive attacks on the judiciary must be treated as criminal contempt. Mr. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, who hails from Nima County, is about to be sentenced to 6 months imprisonment at the Monrovia Central Prison after being found guilty of criminal contempt by the Supreme Court of Liberia. My name is Christopher Bestman, and of course, we're still here waiting Prophet Key as he goes through his processing. This sentence also followed proceedings in which Prophet Key admitted to using abusive languages against the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia and the judicial system as a whole. Prophet Key will also publish a formal letter of apology in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. And as we speak, Prophet Key is also signing a bond of good behavior, committing that he will refrain from using abusive or inflammatory languages against any Liberian citizens. This decision of Prophet Key has marked a serious, significant moment in the ongoing debates over the limits of free expression under Article 15 of Liberia's 1986 Constitution. We're still here bringing you more updates. As we await Mr. Oldpa Yeazehn, alias Prophet Key. Remember, Liberia does not practice censorship. Liberia does not practice censorship, and as such, freedom of expression or freedom of speech comes with responsibility. Government can regulate broadcasting and communication, but not in a way that limits free expression unnecessarily. Every person has the right to freedom of expression, but you need to be fully responsible for the abuse of vocal languages. Article 15 of the 1986 Constitution states that every Liberian has the right to freedom of expression and freedom of the press. This same article also indicates that individuals are fully responsible for the abuse of what freedom of expression is. Whether you are a media practitioner, you are a talk show host, you are free to criticize public officials for personal insults, especially against high-ranking government officials. We cross the line from free expressions into defamation and that of abuse. Our Liberian law does not protect speech that is insultive or denigrating without prior evidence. Targeting private individuals or damages reputation of individuals of high profile is unacceptable. For the key accusation against the Chief Justice was extremely unacceptable. From my journalistic standpoint, I believe that property allegation should have been supported by verifiable evidence, as he mentioned earlier on in his live Facebook broadcast that he has received complaints from Liberians that the Chief Justice is in the habit of selling people land, being dubious, and other forms of corruption he labeled initially. Property accusation was actually framed on claims but no facts. He was given a right to respond, and of course he responds while he does not have a lawyer. And as obligation upon the Supreme Court through the Defense Counsel, Councilor Desmond Jua, who is the current president of the Defense Council, worked along with the coordinator of the Defense Council to provide him lawyer, and as such, they represented him too as well in front of the full bench. Kwabiki is a social media influencer, a content creator, and a popular person within Liberia and that of the social media landscape. Kwabiki's statement was unsubstantiated, honestly. The abusive languages undermines the public trust in the judicial system. I can tell you for sure that Kwabiki allegation incite public anger, and today, every many Liberians who have been victimized one way or the other has expressed their gratitude to the Supreme Court for taking this legal stand against popularly known prophet key, Mr. Oldpa Yeazehn. Remember, freedom of speech is meant to strengthen every democracy of the nation, but not to weaken the institution through reckless commentary. Prophet Keys on many occasions has been making reckless statements against public officials. Yes, other may have been involved, but again, we're still looking forward to the Supreme Court. Men and women of the Liberian National Police are in high gear, and of course, this particular vicinity has been barricaded to stop the invasion of the main entrance. 2 vehicles from the Liberian National Police headquarters with van of the Bureau of Correction Party is beating right now and waiting the arrival of Prophet Key. As he continued to go through the process of his imprisonment for 6 months. Sobis, Kenhomo people, this one is from Mark Class Tally. About we never go to jail, I'm sure. That's Daniel Cisco B. Let's see whether we can still highlight more comments here. Same thing like this has been happening here in Liberia. Definitely, there are groups of guys from the guild. And of course, 122 GCP of the Liberian National Police posted regulating every media activities and that our police officers ensuring that everything is placed under control from the angle of the Liberian National Police. So I get this comment coming from Court Yazo Major, and he says, same thing like this been happening here in Liberia. Definitely there are groups of guys from the Geo ethnic group here in Nima County, Liberia, beat my son, and they were taking the court here in, oh my gosh, can't get this correct. Comment continues to flood in. But again, today is Friday, and 33 minutes past the hour, 2 o'clock. We've been here since 10 a.m. this morning, bringing you all of the happenings as it relates to Prophet Key. And of course, Prophet Key is about to be sentenced to jail for 6 months following a good behavior bond that he is currently signing along with a formal letter of apology to be published in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. His wife just left a few minutes ago, very frustrated, downhearted, very disappointed. But overall, the law had taken a pause. Prophet Key's inflammatory statements, vocal languages, allegations against the Chief Justice of Liberia and the judicial system has led him to serve a term of 6 months imprisonment at the Liberia Central Prison there on the UN draft in Monrovia. Concerns Liberians are here. Staffers from the Supreme Court are here. Men and women from the Liberian National Police are here. Sheriff, they are also here. And of course, we stay with Mr. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn. This one's coming from James Nathaniel Tonkoli, and he said the Chief Justice is corrupt. This one is from Maria Maje Sharif. She said, because we are man, they go free, but this one will not go free. This comment is from, let's see whether we get this straight. This is a miscarriage of justice and should be immediately reversed by President Bouakar. This is Cave Valley Sese Mansa. This one is from Lawrence Yane. The Supreme Court is now going around looking for cases when Moyaya Koloba will be invited by the court when no one takes complaint to the court. Abraham Ross says, Tingo. Jerry Plummer says, let me get Jerry Plummer's statement, his comment. Let me see whether I can bring this comment. I cannot lay my hands on it. But again, Mr. Webster Youngonde says this would be a source of inspiration for many other Liberians. Terry Logan says, president must be set. Liberia has to be straight, folks. Marlon Joan Grave says, thank you, Jesus. Benu M. Benda says, that man is very rude. Last born, Foley says he's following from his resident. And I want to recognize him for this one's from Christian Paul. And he says he would never abuse anyone's mother again. Moral lesson. This one's from Montino Nasgor Kamara. He said the entire judicial system in Liberia is corrupt. A1T Gray said, why would a prophet be sent into jail? This is just a way of saying that the Chief Justice has used his own power and position to sentence the prophet to jail. J. David says, I guess freedom of speech in Liberia anymore. So let's now turn to my colleague Tana James Kaba as we continue with this commentary.
So I want to say many thanks to Christopher Bestman who have been here providing you the charge. Who have been providing you commentary here on how it looks. Oh yeah, as we await Justine Oldpa Yeazehn as he comes down from fifth floor where he has been kept in preliminary detention, awaiting his escorted to the Supreme, that's the Moravia Central Prison. And so it's interesting to know yet on today, scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process. Scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process. Scores of media outlets as well are here reporting on the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia, awaiting Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, commonly known as Prophet Key, as he will be escorted to the Moravia Central Prison. Mr. Justine Oldpa Yeazehn, in days back, used his famous podcast platform, the Museum Prophet Key, at which he continuously rendered insults at the mother of the Chief Justice and used that very platform to accuse the members of the Supreme Court of Liberia of corruption, of which he had no evidence to substantiate. Now that he was called to provide cause and explain why he should not be held in contempt of the court for his continuous insults and accusing the Chief Justice and members of the Supreme Court bench of corruption. So we are here now that he has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. We await Justine Oldpa Yeazehn as he will be escorted to the Moravia Central Prison, at which he will be kept in cell for a 6 months period. Upon his release, he will be made to sign a behavior bond, not to repeat this act of using invectives, some say insults, some say against like a lot of Liberian women, the Supreme similar energy to fight corruption cases. So with the many cases on the docket, the Prophet Key case, big people things, Roosevelt Kumar. Darlington Young Dole said this is a landmark ruling thanks to the Supreme Court for this precedent case. London Tamar, we are reading your comments from our comment section. London Tamar said JB planted the water he sees. This is sorry. Don't you know the seed was going to grow? Tom Weah said that guy mob is too bad. These are comments on our comment sections. So you can also go do same and tell us what you're watching us from. We promise to read your comments out for those following. For us out of Liberia, we say many thanks. Those following from here in Liberia as well, we'd like to say good afternoon and thanks to you for following us. Young boy Bodu said he can go to jail. Never. Trust me. With what confidence he speaks, we don't know. But someone saying that Prophet Key will not go to jail. That's Yambwat Bodu. Sorry if I did not get your first name correctly. That Tech Kamara said, at this point, President Barker needs to pardon the man. At this point, President Barker needs to pardon the man to join you in subsequent broadcasts to bring you the happenings here from the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Probably by then, Prophet Key will be escorted to the van that will carry him straight to the Monrovia Central Prison. My name is Steiner James Kabad. I'm here with Christopher Bestman and the Deputy Director General of New Media Rebranding. That's Mr. D. Flomo Yobot II. Once again, many thanks to those of you who've been following us since this afternoon. That was 12 p.m. You've been following this broadcast, and we pray that you join us back in our subsequent broadcasts. Many thanks.